This is News 4 San Antonio, the Weekend Report.
Good evening. Nobody said it would be easy. Officer Chris Blowers knew that when he decided to go into law enforcement. He knew that there would come a time when he would have to depend on his training and his cool to stay alive. For him, that time was last night. Dan Locke has his story.
They are trained to always be cautious, and on this Friday night last April, Officer Butch Majeka was approaching the van just as he was trained to do.
How you doing? See your driver's license, please.
As it turns out, there was nothing to worry about. But a cop never knows what he's getting into when he walks up beside a car. As Officer Chris Blowers found out last night, Blowers had been called to investigate a suspicious person in this blue truck on the east side. He told police officials that as he neared the driver's door, the man opened the door and raised a semi-automatic rifle. Blowers backed up and opened fire. 5 shots. People in the neighborhood came running out their doors.
One more policeman had arrived, and he told him I had to shoot him.
He said he had to shoot the man. He pulled a rifle. So that's exactly what he said.
The man in the truck was identified as William Chalmers of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. As it turned out, he was wanted in Pennsylvania in connection with an attempted murder, and Pennsylvania wanted him extradited. But he died before he even reached the hospital.
He handled himself professionally to me.
After years of controversy following the shooting deaths of Michael Haskins and Officer Stephen Smith, this one seemed remarkably clean.
At least at this point, it appears that this is one shooting that isn't going to end up leaving a stain on the San Antonio Police Department. Dan Locke, News 4, San Antonio.
A 32-year-old San Antonio man traveling with a Baptist church group was arrested early today. The man was on a flight from San Antonio to Houston, and that's where he was arrested. Authorities said the man, apparently drunk, was detained for threatening to blow up the plane. Witnesses said he made the threats when a flight attendant refused to serve him a drink. And the White House still refusing comment tonight on reports that it began secret contacts with Iran 18 months ago, all in an effort to free American hostages in Lebanon. The reports say Iran got shipments of U.S. military equipment through Israeli intermediaries. We get more from Robin Lloyd.
The administration blackout on the secret effort to win the release of the hostages continued today. CIA Director William Casey refused to answer questions about what role he may have played in the covert program.
I have no comments to make. I'm here to make a talk.
Sources say White House officials decided to run this operation on their own, bypassing the CIA, the State Department, and the Pentagon in an effort to avoid leaks and congressional scrutiny. And top officials in all 3 departments say they're furious that they weren't consulted. Some outside the government question whether it was even legal. Former CIA Director Stansfield Turner.
The National Security Council should not be out doing operational things. They're doing it because the president is skirting the law. There is a law that says if the CIA were doing this, it would have to inform the Congress.
But sources say the president decided to go ahead with the plan at the urging of National Security Advisor John Poindexter and CIA Director William Casey, who argued it was the only way to free the hostages. The plan had already proved successful in gaining the release of Reverend Benjamin Weir. It worked again with Reverend Lawrence Jenko, and most recently with David Jacobson. The president seemed to say yesterday that the operation should continue until, quote, we get all the hostages back. But sources involved in the covert plan told NBC News today that the publicity and controversy already have come very close to, quote, killing the initiative. White House officials insist they've done nothing illegal. But even within the administration, top officials are pointing out the contradictions in U.S. policy. Said one official, we're now telling terrorists that they can get things from the United States and that we will deal. Robin Lloyd, NBC News at the White House.
Meanwhile, here at home, bands, floats, and veterans all were assembled today for the marking of the annual Veterans Day Parade. Veterans from World War I through the Vietnam War joined in the 40-unit procession, a piece of history, past and present, captured by photographer Pete Cuellar.
It's very important to remember where we came from. Then we'll know where we're going.
We have to remember and appreciate what those brothers did for us and for our country.
If we don't take care of the people who have made this country what it is today, we're not much of a country.
Recall a lot of incidents that I went through, and there were some good ones and some bad ones, and left a lot of my friends behind, and recalling a lot of memories, and again in battlefields, you know. It's a sad thing to see some people not coming back, but again, you're happy that you were the one that came back.
And in Universal City today, the parades continued. It was the 16th year for the Greater Randolph Area Veterans Council to bring this patriotic event to the community. The council invited area schools, businesses, and various organizations to dress up and join in the festivities. And guess who else came along? Good old Santa Claus, who brought his own band along.
It's rolling around the bend. Well, I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Well, I'm stuck in a Folsom prison, and time is dragging on.
Well, the stage is set for the dedication of the Vietnam Memorial at Municipal Auditorium, but today the Marines that'll remove the veil from the statue practiced for tomorrow. Channel 4 will carry the dedication live at 2 in the afternoon. Retired General William Westmoreland, who headed the Army during the Vietnam War, will be among the featured speakers. Veterans from all over the country are expected to attend. As News 4's George Franco reports, vets have been gathering at McAllister Park, camping out until tomorrow, catching up on old friendships and making new ones.
The vet is asleep, but he's part of an issue that's now fully awakened, the Vietnam experience. Vets from all over Texas, Colorado, and other states set up camp at what they're calling a fire base. That's the same term used during the war they fought for the bases they set up to fight us.
It was like being with your family, the men you served with, you slept with them, ate with them, fought next to them.
Hey, Joe. The war wounds go further than the obvious, the fire base providing a forum to laugh, relax, and try to mend the psychological scars that have affected many.
If there's a message to all this, it's welcome home, vet, and that it's okay to share the experiences of a very unpopular war. And apparently that message is being heard more and more as more and more vets join the ranks of these vets.
This is the first time San Antonio Vietnam veteran Colin Wynn has ever joined a group of vets like himself.
And through such acts as this, Vietnam veterans getting together and reaching out, people are taking notice, that, hey, we're for real,
The Alamo area Vietnam veterans coordinated the fire base, and vets will be in full force tomorrow for the memorial dedication. Accompanying them will be Ophelia Garcia, mother of a soldier missing in action for almost 2 decades. The fire base will empty soon, but the vets will carry on the message of welcome home. George Franco, News 4, San Antonio.
And in just a moment, what does the world's largest women's group do to raise money? Well, they put their skills to work, making handmade items that sell like hotcakes. Stay with us.
News 4 San Antonio is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, who invite you to see the complete line of 87 trucks.
Well, we have been asked to ask for your help tonight. Bobby Willard is a little 9-month-old baby who is suffering from a very rare congenital kidney disease. There is no specific treatment for that disease, but doctors are hopeful that a new kidney will help. Bobby is at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, so if you know of someone that could donate a kidney or some way in which a kidney can be found, please call this number. It is the South Texas Organ Bank at 732-9612. Well, the Judson school bond issue was overwhelmingly approved today by a record-breaking number of voters. 1,012 of them showed up to cast their ballots. 848 votes passed the bond issue. There were 164 no votes. Jeff Duffield, the information officer for the district, says $45 million might seem like a lot, but that will buy 2 new elementary schools, a new junior high, a new 9th and 10th grade high school, an indoor swimming complex, an alternative school complex, plus some additions to the existing Judson High School building. Officials say Judson is the fastest growing school district in our area. Well, some wise shoppers turned out today for some early Christmas shopping at a special bazaar over at the Salvation Army Peacock Center. This annual Christmas bazaar features items handmade by the ladies of the Salvation Army Home League. It is the world's largest women's organization. Locally, the group sews handmade items for nursing homes in town.
This particular group is assigned to the 4 nursing homes that are what we consider to be the most needy. And monthly, we take them birthday gifts, and we make lap robes, bibs, and other items that are normally needed in a nursing home.
Mrs. Montgomery says funds raised today will be used to buy supplies for more nursing home gifts. And although the bazaar was for today only, the League is taking Christmas orders for their custom-made quilts.
Looks like some good deals to me.
Indeed, and those beautiful quilts are very handy right now since it's getting colder.
We had a very weak cool front move through about 6 o'clock today. It was kind of weak, but there's a couple of more coming, and we're going to see temperatures going down into the 40s.
Ooh.
Ooh. Well, as I mentioned, that cool front pushed through San Antonio hasn't dropped temperatures very much during the last couple of hours. Take a look right now, 67 degrees. The humidity is way up there. It's 97%. The winds from the north at 3 miles per hour. The barometer rising a little bit. Take a look at some of the temperatures today around the state. This was the low for the state, 30 degrees out in Marfa. The high, 93 down in McAllen. 42 degrees was the low for Amarillo. 59 this morning, the high, rather, for San Antonio, some of the high temperatures. Going on right now, 68 for San Antonio, 50 degrees for Amarillo, 53 for El Paso, and as you can see down in the valley, still a very warm 79 degrees. We do have some rain to show you. It's along that frontal system that stretches from Lufkin up through Shreveport and then swings up into Mississippi. Heavy thunderstorms occurring along this frontal system as we get into Tennessee and Kentucky. Ahead of the front, a lot of record-high temperatures today throughout Georgia and Alabama and South Carolina. But behind that frontal system, very cold temperatures up in the northern plains. They have blizzard conditions up in portions of North Dakota with the wind chill factor causing a minus 30, minus 20 degree wind chill right now. Not the place to be. A winter storm warning in effect for South Dakota over into Wisconsin, also Minnesota. A tornado watch remains in effect for this portion, which is the southeastern corner of Arkansas, into the northern portion of Louisiana and over into Mississippi as the front slowly pushes across the northern tier of the southern states. At the same time, this frontal system is going to swing on too through San Antonio late tonight, and by early morning it'll push on through San Antonio, bringing some cooler air. You can see where all the snow is presently falling right now. Of course, up in the northern portion of North Dakota, some snow reported in the ski areas of northern Utah, so that's good news for you skiers, and some snow all the way up into Montana. Clear skies for New Mexico right now, and we're expecting some heavy fog for central South Texas tomorrow morning, including the San Antonio area, especially the hill country, as this front pushes on through, goes down to the Gulf area, and then this other front pushes down. Now let's take a look at the forecast, because here's where the cold weather comes in. Tonight, cloudy skies, a low of 62 degrees, and as I mentioned, some heavy fog expected in the morning when you wake up. Tomorrow afternoon, partly sunny to sunny skies with a high about 74. And then Monday morning, the temperature as far as a low 50 and 74 a high. On Tuesday, we're expecting the temperatures to be a lot colder, 45 for San Antonio. And then by Wednesday, we could even see 42 degrees and a lot colder for the hill country, but still no freeze in the forecast. So cold weather is definitely on its way.
That's great. We've been ready for it. Thank you, Bill. And the Spurs limping home.
Yeah, that's the good news, is that they are coming home before they head back to Houston for one more game on the road trip. We've got highlights from Indiana. They're not pretty, but we'll show them to you anyway. Stay with us.
I'm David Scott of the San Antonio Light with an update for you on what we'll have in the Sunday paper. You'll read about the .44 caliber mouthpiece, police union boss Harold Flamia, and we'll reveal the political war chest he's compiling to defeat politicians who oppose him. If you'd like to see just how safe your neighborhood is, you won't want to miss our weekly crime report only in the Sunday Light. You'll read about the dedication of the Vietnam Memorial Monument. General William Westmoreland will be in San Antonio for that as the keynote speaker. We'll preview an important Cowboys shootout against the Raiders. In Viva, a close-up look at singer Paul Simon and Princess Caroline. All that and much more, and the front page is just about ready to go out. We'll see you in the morning.
Well, you really can't blame the Spurs for getting blown out tonight. They've played 4 games in 5 nights in 4 different cities. All that traveling makes for a tired basketball team. Thus, you got to expect some big losses in situations like this. Spurs coach Bob Weiss pleading with the refs to give his team a break against Indiana. The Spurs, though, really didn't need any breaks in the early going. Johnny Moore up court to a streaking Alvin Robertson, who goes in for the jam. But after that, it was all Indiana. David Greenwood misses the jumper here. Vern Fleming grabs the rebound and brings the ball up the floor. Nice pass coming up here to Herb Williams. He'll stuff it, and Indiana is in high gear. Here's another fast break. Walker Russell up court. The ball goes to Wayman Tisdale, who puts down the monster jam. Indiana led by 11 points at halftime. Third quarter, the Pacers extend the lead. Vern Fleming puts on a dribbling clinic here. Watch him go against Johnny Dawkins. 2 behind-the-back jobs. Indiana rolled to a 33-point victory over San Antonio. Final 130-97. Spurs are now 2-4. Michael Thompson led San Antonio tonight with 22 points. Next game for the Spurs, Tuesday night in Houston. They'll take on the Rockets. Other NBA scores tonight. Houston, a winner over Sacramento. Final there was 102-90. Atlanta beats Washington. The Hawks are now 5-0. They're off to their best start since moving from St. Louis back in 1968. Michael Jordan had 39 points to lead Chicago past Phoenix, 101-96. Milwaukee is leading Detroit. That is in the fourth quarter. 2 other games, both on the West Coast, still going on. Cleveland leading L.A. 27-25. The Clippers in the first quarter, and Seattle with a 6-point lead over the Knicks in the second quarter. The Bull Scouts were out in full force this afternoon in Waco. Baylor hosted Arkansas. Both teams with good records, but not good enough at this point to warrant a trip to the Cotton Bowl. So chances are they'll go to another bowl. The Baylor Bear was moping around in the early going. That's because Arkansas took a 14-6 lead in the second quarter. Greg Thomas gets the ball to Joe Johnson, who goes 38 yards for the touchdown. The Hogs wound up with a 14-12 lead at halftime. We move to the fourth quarter now. Bears on top, 15-14. Freshman Jeffrey Murray takes it in. That put Baylor up 22-14, and the Razorbacks could feel the game getting out of hand. A little later, it's Cody Carlson pitching the ball back to Derek McAdoo. He'll go 33 yards for the touchdown. Baylor scored 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, and that made for a very happy Bear. Final 29-14, Baylor over Arkansas. The 2 teams are now tied with Texas Tech for second place in the Southwest Conference. The Longhorns pound Houston. Final there was 30-10. Texas Tech knocks off TCU 36-14. The Red Raiders are assured of their first winning season since 1978, and SMU got beat up today by Notre Dame. Final there was 61-29. In top 10 college football action, top-ranked Miami refuses to slide, although its mascot doesn't mind doing so. Vinny Testaverde, the favorite for the Heisman Trophy Award, he had a big day against Pittsburgh. 4 touchdown passes, 291 yards through the air. The Canes also got some points out of their special teams. David Kintai fields the punt, follows his blockers, heads down the sideline here, and goes 67 yards for the touchdown. That score right before halftime. Miami led 14-3. Then third quarter, Testaverde pads his stats. He connects with Michael Irvin on a 23-yarder. Miami extends its regular season winning streak to 19 games. Final this afternoon, 37-10, Miami over Pittsburgh. The Hurricanes are now a perfect 9-0 on this season. So is Penn State. Today, the Nittany Lions got by Maryland 17-15. Michigan is also 9-0. Today, the Wolverines whipped Purdue 31-7. The final there, and look at that score. That's sad. 77-0. Oklahoma over Missouri. The Sooners scored touchdowns on their first 8 possessions. They had 750 yards in total offense. Arizona State, the Sun Devils are on their way to their first ever Rose Bowl appearance tonight. They shut out California 49-0. LSU, an upset there, beats Alabama 14-10. Nebraska got by Iowa State. Final there was 35-14. And Auburn knocks off Cincinnati 52-7. In the Battle of Academies, Army losing to Air Force. I can give you that score. Army not losing but winning today, beating the Air Force. The final there was 21-11. Well, last night, some local high school football teams qualified for the playoffs. Of course, Thursday night, top-ranked Holmes earned a postseason bid by knocking off John Jay, and the Huskies will now meet Fox Tech in the first round of the playoffs. Show you the matchups. Holmes and Fox Tech will play Saturday night at Alamo Stadium. That game will start at 7:30. Judson, ranked number 2 in the city, will take on Austin Travis. That game will be played Friday night at Memorial Stadium up in Austin. Clark and Sam Houston square off Friday night at Alamo Stadium. That should be a good one. Also Friday night, Churchill and Austin Reagan. They will meet at Northeast Stadium Friday night. The Cowboys host the Raiders tomorrow afternoon up at Texas Stadium, and they may be without both Tony Dorsett and Herschel Walker. Dorsett re-injured his left knee yesterday during practice. He's listed as probable for the Raider game. However, Walker is questionable. He hasn't practiced all week after spraining his ankle against the Giants last Sunday. It won't be known until game time whether the two will see any action. Well, you can stop calling me Randy Dandy. Instead, how about Even Steven? The last 3 weeks, the Dandies have split. 2 wins, 2 losses. It gets frustrating after a while when you keep coming up with average weeks, so we're going to switch gears and have a week to remember. Game 1, Buffalo against Pittsburgh. The Bills have a new head coach. They fired Hank Bulla and hired Marv Levy. That should spark the team to life. Take the Bills and give up the 1 point. Game 2, Minnesota at Detroit. The Vikings have lost their last 2 games, but they're still a good team. They've beaten the Bears, the 49ers, and last week they almost knocked off the Redskins at RFK Stadium. They're one of the most improved teams in the NFL. They should handle the Lions. Game 3, Houston and Cincinnati. The Oilers continue to lose game after game. They've dropped 8 straight. However, this will be the week they snap the streak. Go with Houston in the Dome, and of course, be sure to take the 4 points. It's a bonus that surely can't hurt. Game 4, the Raiders against the Cowboys. Dallas favored by a field goal. Of course, the Pokes are without Danny White. Herschel Walker may not play. Same goes for Tony Dorsett. That should make for a close, tight contest. So take the Raiders and the 3 points quickly. Last week's results told you 2-2. Season record now 20, 15-1, still 57%. Cowboys and Raiders right here on Channel 4, 3 o'clock tomorrow. Be there.
We will. Thank you,
sure.
Even Steven.
Yes.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, about 400 dinner guests on the city's north side got waited on hand and foot tonight by a group of celebrity waiters. 40 waiters, all prominent in the community in one way or another, put their talents to work as they served up stuffed artichokes and Cornish hens. The dinner, held at the Al-Safar Shrine Temple, benefits the Northeast Independent School District's Drug and Alcohol Task Force. An estimated $10,000, part of it coming from a silent auction, will go directly towards drug and alcohol abuse programs. Money raised tonight will pay for rehabilitation, prevention, and education programs for students. Looks like a lot of fun. That's our late report. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
News 4 San Antonio has been brought to you by Chevy Trucks, who invite you to see the complete line of 87 trucks.